This is a test donation for $10. Oh. This is a test donation for $12. Oh.
sanitizer. Hand sanitizer? Where's it going? Frank? Why is there hand sanitizer all over the park? Here. Oh!
Frank? What the hell did you do to yourself?
God, what am I gonna do about this? Gotta get him to the hospital, right? Yeah. Oh, let's make a quick stop first. This is quarantine.
Good morning, how is everyone? And another beautiful spring day here in Japan, and I've drank all my tea already. About that. I'll be a bit more civilized today. I will use a cup instead of swigging from the bottle. So, cheers. It was my birthday yesterday, folks. I took a day off. Rest the aircraft seat numbness. And we'll be doing more neuroscience, and we're going to have a look at some of the victims. We got some victims, the raccoon squad as taking scalps, and we'll have a look at some of that in the end. But we're going to focus on more neuroscience of SARS-CoV-2, the physiological, anatomical basis of the COVID zombie. And COVID zombie is, of course, a clickbait title for the consequences of the neurotropism of SARS-CoV-2 and the expected emergence of beta amyloid or alpha-synuclein formation, and as a consequence of preongenesis sites, so misfolded proteins. Now, if you're new here, this is me, Kevin McCann, PhD, at your service. If you want to be able to commentate in the chat, go to the website McCann Dojo, click Watch Live. Oh, of course, you need to be a member, or you need to be part of Discord. So I encourage everyone to make a Discord account. You can join the server then. It's not a paid server like a lot of the grifters that we go after. Remember the pedo adjacent, Dr. David Gorski, the chemotherapy spreading deviant from where was it, Detroit. We'll have a look at that little network at the end. And but if you want to go there and you click join Discord, you can go watch live and watch live in the dojo, and there should be a Discord chat box that should work. If you want to go to the Discord site, and I've got a rattle in my... Better? Yeah. If you want to go to the Discord, you want to look in the folder live stream chat, and there you will be able to interact with members of the community, the Raccoon Attack Squad, the QRF, the Quick Reaction Forces of the internet with respect to SARS-CoV-2, and looking at all the people that are trying to screw you down to the floor, whether it's through shoddy scientific studies or very, very sketchy networks that are linked to, well, it's obvious, deep state. We know, we'll use the EcoHealth example, we know that they're receiving hundreds of millions of dollars from Department of Defense, but also Chinese groups. There are deep, these aren't rabbit holes, these are just cesspits of corruption that have brought you, my fine audience, world crashing down. Okay, they're all about the change, and like I say, there's we're seeing elements kick in right now. How much is pandemic? How much is opportunism? History will find out. But all we can do right now is to stay on top of it all. Okay, and remember that what's the take-home message from this stream or this channel is that because of the ability of SARS-CoV-2 to affect the brain, we can expect all kinds of nonsense, and in particular impulse control disorders, whether they're hyperkinetic, like Touretteism-like actions, or hypokinetic Parkinsonism, and we're going to see some evidence for the Parkinsonism in this stream. So that's the introductions done. Oh yes, one last thing, of course. I don't have the billions behind me like the pedo-adjacent Helmsley Network or the Wexner Institute, some of the people that have been trying to criticize the good doctor lately. So if you want to help out, I do this all off my back. Everything's voluntary. I put everything up for free as much as possible. There are no paywalls to, there shouldn't be paywalls to this information. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to quickly just go over, I want to just build a little bit on the last stream that we did. What was this one? So, you know, we're getting a signal that we're seeing breakthrough mutations in Israel as predicted by Geert Bush. The Dutch veterinarian, I think he was, but something to keep an eye on. We're going to have a look at some of the SARS-CoV-2 related news. Of course, there was the what that was about. That's supposed to be the chip. And China mixing vaccines. And remember, in a big data scenario, the mixing vaccines is another nice little data matrix for them to be toying with and looking at and seeing what the effects are for these gene therapy based approaches to modulating your immune system. What else did we do last week? Of course, there's the swabbing is associated with increased meningitis risk, so go for the anal swabs or the anal schwabs. And yes, so cerebral spinal fluid, yes, we did that one. Of course, histopathology of SARS-CoV-2 brain invasion. We've done this one before. This was people bringing it up during the last stream. Meningitis due to cerebral spinal fluid leak after nasal swab testing for COVID-19. The cribriform plate, it's part of the skull, but it's a porous bone that a lot of nerve fibers have to project through. And we're going to look at some of those nerve fibers, some that aren't discussed very much and have been somewhat of a conundrum with respect to what is the route into the brain for SARS-CoV-2. Remember, we touched on, so this is a Forbes article, but it's to do with TETs and TETs, one of the first papers to identify prion genesis sites in SARS-CoV-2 as part of the ACE2 receptor binding energies. Neuroinvasion of SARS-CoV-2 in human and mouse, and I do like this study. I encourage everyone to read the study. I think it's excellent. I'm just going to put that in the chat. I'm Farley says, finally found Dr. Kevin. Well, good to see you. I'm Farley. Let's see. Oh yes, we did this one. European Court of Human Rights rules that mandatory vaccines are legal. They're legal in the United States as well. There could come a time where they will mandate vaccines, and it's everything is vax, folks. That's not science anymore. That's corporate power wielding its might in the institutions, and the institutions so corrupted that there's very few people that are willing to put their head above the parapet to call this stuff out. And really, the issue here is that we're dealing with a weaponized spike protein. It's come from a laboratory, and many of these people are just, it steps outside the realm of virology. It gets into systems neuroscience, the systems biology, and the molecular and the gene jockeys just are not going to, there'll be few who can sort of tie and make the leaps necessary. They'll still be thinking in terms of anaphylaxis, etc. And the acute effects are something to be kept in mind when speaking either of the virus or the spikes generated through hijacking of cell machinery. And that's highlighted in the risk of blood clots and the withdrawal of Johnson & Johnson and AstraZeneca from some countries. You don't hear those who are pushing the vaccines, the Gorskys of this world, the toads that swarm around that money pot, the Helmsley, Wexner, pedo money pots, gross, who push vaccines with nary a thought, of long-term consequences, because they're unable to compute that there could be problems. And like I say, when those networks are supposed to be there debunking, when they haven't touched the lab leak hypothesis, that tells you that you're dealing with they're not doing science, they're doing the bidding of a higher or some higher, I'd say lower power, but that's depends how you want to look at the world, and we all have our own ways. So yes, this was the meat and potatoes of the last stream, which these long cohort studies now, which follow exactly what I've been saying for over a year, that you're going to see an increase in these neuropsychiatric disorders. And what's the physiological basis for this in terms of disease pathophysiology, and it's difficult for people to think beyond viruses, but the virus itself can induce these inflammatory states. Inflammatory states lead to well, not just inflammatory state, but peptide, neurotoxic peptide sequences along the SARS-CoV-2 spike protein can again lead to priongenesis, and these are the hallmarks of a degenerating nervous system. Think all the long haulers have suddenly gone from 30 years old to 70 years old. Long hauler is early Alzheimer's, if you like. Now, can you recover from it? Yes, I think there's an adaptive capacity under normal conditions, under normal viruses coming from the environment, the Epstein bars, whatever, the herpes, okay, the chickenpox, all are capable. Flu, even influenza, can produce a post-viral state. The magnitude of the people suffering from long hauler side effects are becoming ever more apparent. 20-30% of people who come into contact with SARS-CoV-2, and they do not even have to have a severe reaction to the virus. Okay, this is why I put forward the proposition that SARS-CoV-2 should be thought of as a neurological agent first, rather than the respiratory symptoms. And once it gets into your brain, read the article that I put there with respect to Iwasaki. It can sit in the central nervous system, slowly churning out copies of itself, and as we're seeing or predicting, there will be a onslaught of infective prions. Okay, so you've got to try to bring that into your working models. Again, another paper we did that last week, last stream, and you know the data is becoming overwhelming now. So everything that I've been saying for over a year is coming to a head right now. And what is that going to mean at the population level, and what is it going to mean when we've chosen a strategy of injecting people and hijacking cellular machinery to produce spike proteins that we know contain priongenesis capacity? And we're going to look in this stream at another mechanism for inducing misfolded proteins that's come to light, and we'll do a latest update on some news. Oh yes, so this was if you want to get more informed, I like this paper with respect to priongenesis from SARS-CoV-2. Put that in the chat, and oh yeah, I'll get to that. So first of all, I'm just going to catch up with who is in the chat. Let's see, and wow, 50 people watching. 50 people watching without any mainstream platforms. No YouTube. 60 people watching. Quite incredible. We can get around this. Like I say, these are about spreading spores of truth, okay, to counter the corporate narratives that are being pushed at you from compromised scientists and doctors and talking heads, etc., etc., etc. And for those that are watching just on the Boxcast link, like I say, if you want to be able to get into the discussion, you can go watch on DLive. I can see comments there. Or make a Discord account, join the website, and just ask about what people coming in right now. Can I just ask if we've got a server in? Just make sure that all the people are given access. View right now. Precious Mental, Cliff, welcome. E41, welcome. Edelweiss, welcome. Ounce one, welcome. I'm on top of it, I think. Welcome. That was Toadflax, Liberty Lad. Go. Welcome to the Discord, and yeah, that's it. I think we're up to date. But if an admin could just check that, I would be very, very grateful. Oops, wrong. Chat. All right, let me just catch up with the chat. So Marty, good to see you. Terry the Stowaway, always a pleasure. Anxious, nice to see you. DJ, what is indeed growing, sir? What is indeed growing? Freddy watching already? Yeah, so we're going straight into class. I'm just going to try and keep up to date. Shit, it's Kuman's birthday. Happy birthday then, amigo. Thank you, DJ. Then come across if you make your comments in the Discord live stream folder or on DLive, or you register with the chat on the website. Like I say, use the words that I do. They'll try to take you down, okay? And they don't. The powers that be do not like me because it's difficult to control me. I'm not. I don't care about their pedo network money. Okay, I'm not going to pander to it. I don't pander to anyone. Can we go over my theory of the virus? Not supposed to have symptoms, and vitamin D will help that be true. I will try. Causing the prion infection. Can we go over my virus? Not supposed to have symptoms, and vitamin D will help that be true. Causing the prion infection. I don't know. Okay. You know, there's. Lowering infectious load should just be the goal for everyone until we understand this thing better. Okay, and the the explosion in neuropsychiatric disorders, impulse control disorders. Okay, you're just gonna see them everywhere. Okay, and we're winding up for another boiling summer in the northern hemisphere. All the time as the West implodes on itself in an anti-racist woke spurgathon, the East, particularly the Chinese, are looking at the chaos and licking their lips. Yes, don't forget our sponsor, Brubaker Arms Manufacturing. They're covering some of the costs to bring these streams. We have to get streaming out there. We have to use paid platforms. Please, like I say, there's links down below. Help the good doctor here. Cover the costs. It's much appreciated. Yeah. If you could sort of disambiguate the question at 199913, try and answer it. ProtonMail.com to make a new secure email for making accounts and such too. I do have a Proton Mail account. Yeah, it's more secure, etc. Like I say, we're working very hard in the background now to up armor networks, etc., just to make sure that it's a little harder for those that want to. How do they? They can just watch streams if they want to. If they want to catch up, right? But no, they want to find ways to. Well, they want to monitor, right? The beast, the eye of Sauron. Yeah, I agree. We were only meant to view it as respiratory. If we're meant to notice it at all, I don't think they wanted us paying attention to long-term impacts, says Anxious Aussie. Yes, this is true. Basil says homework, yay. Okay, dinner started too. Late dinner. Like this tea better. I wonder what the difference is between other black teas. Kevin has some tea too. Now mine is just a barley tea, I guess. It's called Sockenbeecher. The older I get, the less caffeine I can consume. SARS didn't help it. Kratom tea for the win. Yeah, of course, DJ had to mention the Kratom. Mystique says finally made it here. Omnique, good to see you, sir. MSO Fiber, hello, Dr. Kevin in chat. So it says super thankful to be able to catch a live stream for the first time in a while. Good to see you, Artix. See, lots of. What do you make of the reports that the South African variant is hospitalising people who've had the vaccine at higher numbers? Is that complete bull? Well, like I say, we looked at that study here. Evidence for increased breakthrough rates of SARS-CoV-2 of variants of concern in BNT16. That's Pfizer vaccine. Maybe, like I say, we're expecting to see that signal. Like I say, we need to wait for data. Look, for those that are new to this channel, okay, you're not in a natural pandemic, Okay, this is very much the product of biowarfare programs couched in green conservation programs, and for whether it was an accident or deliberate. Powers that be, those that have the stakeholder capitalism on their side, they're making hay, whilst you're being fist fucked by the Eddie Barzoons of this world, referencing Devil's Advocate there, the great speech by Al Pacino. So let's have a look. So I've got some just reports coming up. So oh yes, so this just to remind me. So if you want to understand all the information that's put through this panel, and this just arrived in my email inbox because I get a lot of emails from journals, etc. And what do we have? Planetary health is human health. The One Health agenda, folks. You need to understand it if you want to understand what's going on. Have to. It's critical. Okay, find out its roots, and then find out its roots in biowarfare programs. Okay. So what do we have here? So from Portugal, only 15% of adverse reactions in Portugal related to AstraZeneca, while second dose can be substituted by another vaccine. Mix and match, folks. Mix and match. Give them that big data set, right? So only 15% of more than 3,600 cases of adverse reactions reported in Portugal are related to the AstraZeneca vaccine, while DGS health chiefs today have admitted that the second dose could be substituted by any other vaccine. And so began another stranger than fiction week in Portugal, where no one can really tell where the pandemic is taking us. Last night, in his regular slot on SIC television, commentator Luis Marquis Mendes dismissed the rising RT, which he warned, what do they mean by RT? R rate, which he warned would be up to 1.04 by today, saying it has not translated into a flood of further serious illness, and that the country will indeed be moving forward with deconfinement stage 3 next Monday. Boroughs, however, where the situation is most difficult, run the risk of returning to confinement. It wasn't clear from his explanations whether this refers to all 29 boroughs that have a rolling average rate of new cases above 120 per 100,000 inhabitants, or only the most critical situations will be targeted. Okay, so I want to find out. It was Guave Imelo who reported on the adverse reaction, saying that 81.1% related to Pfizer, which has seen 1.4 million doses administered in Portugal so far, 4% to Moderna, and around 15% to AstraZeneca. That 15% related to 535 cases, he said, only one of these having been a blood clot. Portugal this far has suffered 2 clotting incidents, health chiefs have revealed, to other vaccines involved. On a percentage basis of doses administered, the number of adverse reactions for Pfizer have been 0.21, AstraZeneca 0.14, and Moderna 0.12. One anomaly from the interview this morning from Luis Garcia of the DGS Vaccination Technical Committee is that he admitted that people who have received the first dose of AstraZeneca vaccine and are under 60 can receive a second dose of any other vaccine. Jesus Christ, man. Words fail me. But he also explained that the country is in a situation where it can wait and see what happens in other countries and studies that are being done. Yes, this is my take home at the moment. Okay, try to wait this one out, folks. Get more data. Get more data. Because all these people that claim that know what's going on don't. Okay, don't. How many times, how many stories and articles do we have to go through to see how many are mendacious, lying sleazebags who are just in it for money? And if you're part of the Helmsley-Wexner funds, the Epstein funds around science, you're probably into kids as well. Gem8 says, yay, I'm signed up now. Can't wait to hear everything you're sharing. You're more than welcome. Kev, isn't it creepy to you? I've never really seen them counting like this. Have you? How many vaxes have we given to date? Never seen this with the flu. Yeah, well, it's all part of the data aggregation, right? Those that want to roll out this next generation technology for fourth industrial revolution. The gold rush is into biotech, folks, and all that biotech, like I say, it's been tried on the cattle, the agriculture, and now it's your turn, okay? And the warp speed, all this injection of money into those scientific fields, you know. It's just technology. Technology can be either good or bad, but when you potentially on the receiving end, it's important to have informed consent. Okay, so this ties into the idea of, I watched Professor Nutt, the nutty epidemiologist, on a stream the other day, and harping on about how we need a Great Barrington approach to dealing with SARS-CoV-2. If you want an idea of how the Great Barrington approach would look at Brazil. Okay, I don't think throwing the doors open to a lab-leaked dual-use pathogen that you can on it doesn't matter the intention behind it. The effects are equivalent to biowarfare attack, and the if you want to let it run rampant through your population, expect to look like Brazil. So as of yesterday, my birthday, April 13th, 2021, France suspends all flights to and from Brazil due to COVID variant. France will suspend all flights to and from Brazil in a bid to prevent the spread of the coronavirus variant first detected there, French Prime Minister Jean Castex said in Parliament. We take note that the situation is getting worse and we've decided to suspend all flights between France and Brazil until further notice. Castex said several leading French doctors have been calling on the government for days to stop all air traffic with Brazil. A month ago, Health Minister Olivier Véran said that about 6% of COVID-19 cases in France were from more contagious variants first found in Brazil and South Africa, where they were doing vaccine testing, folks, And so a little report there, and yeah. Change to English. Won't do it. I don't know what's wrong with that web page, but with my poor French, there's a new version coming out of Brazil, and I want to say thank you to Shackles. Thank you very much, much appreciated. And did that translate? No, it didn't. Would I consider doing a stream with Jean-Francois Guérepi to your show? Yeah, look, I know who he is. In terms of his neuroscience, I found him interesting, but he's again associated with Epstein, those networks, and I've got to put firewalls in places, and I don't know. He seems. I've watched his streams. I'd watched them before I knew about the Epstein issue. And the problem is a lot of science has been subverted right now, a lot of it, and I've got to make sure that because I fire from the hip a lot, okay, and it opens up for the cancel culture types to come after me, okay, because I don't mind calling out Epstein as a Mossad Jewish honeypot or Israeli Mossad honeypot, and like I say, it was used to, I don't know why, well, we know why they were focused on sciences, and there's just a very, very seedy side where big money is. There are these hedge funds that need capital to flow all the time. They need money to flow, etc., etc. Look at wrench in the gears. Getting sidetracked. But I would need to find out more about Jean-Francois Guérepi. But just the association with Epstein is enough for me to say no at this point. He's open to all public dialogue, contains a consistent audience. He's also ignorant about neuropathological aspects of SARS-CoV-2. Well, like I say, if he's a PhD, he should be up to speed with it. Jigs, good to see you. Nice mix and match vaccine experiment, indeed. I would say I'm choosing Novavax or Novax. I recommend the Novavax or Novax product lines. Stay in that particular experimental group until we understand more. I think December, January will be a good time to reappraise the data. Okay, now the problem is that with all the vaccination, what they do is create escape variants. So think Marek virus in chickens. We've gone over that plenty of times. That they push it forward to, or they put pressure on SARS-CoV-2 to become ever more pathogenic, to squeeze out niches in the environment, and it's something that we can't ignore under the current paradigm of a lab leak. And it's funny how the Helmsley Vexner groups don't want to touch the lab leak hypothesis. We looked at science-based medicine website the other day, and they're pushing that it's a natural spillover. Hey.
Don't forget to share the stream. Salute squad. Raccoons for the win 2021.
Indeed, indeed. Anxious Aussie, thank you very much. Right. Okay, so I briefly touched on this, and obviously Daily Mail. I'm going to have to put in. Okay, Pfizer's COVID vaccine is linked to more blood clots than AstraZeneca's, so why isn't the EU banning it? Hypocrisy of European nations revealed as Italy admits decision was political. Okay, regulator and scientists insist that clots are appearing in average numbers and are not linked to the vaccines. By now, 14 countries in Europe have stopped using AstraZeneca's vaccine, triggering uproar. Data show that blood clots also reported more often after Pfizer in the UK, suggesting neither has unusual risk level. They're so rare that it's more common for death to be reported than a blood clot, still with no link to vaccine. Well, like I say, we don't know. I'll wait, thanks. I'm staying with the Novavax for the moment. If they've made it such that there's nothing but a Hobbesian choice here with respect to ethical and moral minefields, well, you know, I'm not anti-vax, I'm anti-bad science. So 14 countries across the continent have now turned their backs on the Oxford University's jab in a knee-jerk reaction over unproven blood clot fears, including France, Italy, Germany and Spain. Remember, it's the cheapest jab, AstraZeneca. Right? It's the one that could be rolled out to the masses, whereas the corporates, the Pfizers and Modernas, who want to charge $30, $40 a shot, they want the first world countries to pay top dollar for their vaccines. Or you could go an Israeli way, okay, the Jewish way, which is to always the promise to pay more, roll out that vaccine, get the vaccines pumped into the population, and then not pay. The Jew always comes through. On with the article. European Medicine Agency's bosses said they were firmly convinced that injections with the AstraZeneca shot should continue. Safety experts said a very small number of people have come down with blood disorders, but there is no indication the jab was to blame. Of course they will say that. It joined the World Health Organization and the UK government in offering a full-throated defence of the vaccine amid fury at European heavyweights for suspending the jabs. This is all about money, folks. This is all about the money. Prime Minister Boris Johnson also waded into the row today, insisting that AstraZeneca vaccine is safe and saying he would be very happy if he is giving it when he goes to his first COVID vaccination appointment this week. Well, he just gets the saline jab, right? Leaders on the continent were accused of risking lives with a reckless decision to stop the flow of vaccines. So vaccines, right? It's the One Health doctrine, folks. It's the One Health doctrine. Get up to speed with it, okay? Look in the eco scam folder on the Discord. February 28th, there were 38 reports from approximately 11, blah, blah, blah. And there we go. Blood clots and deaths reported after vaccination. So AstraZeneca, Pfizer, UK, deaths UK, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Total deaths. Note there's no proof vaccines caused any of the blood clots or deaths. Regulatory reports show that blood clot diagnoses are about equally likely after the 2 jabs being used in the UK, slightly higher for Pfizer. The scientist insists the risk is no higher than a random person in the population could expect, meaning the vaccine remains safe. Rates of death soon after vaccination appear higher for AstraZeneca's vaccine, but this is likely because it's used in care homes and the people receiving it are naturally more likely to die for any reason. There we go, we can see where it's suspended. So yeah, I don't want to dwell too much on the vaccines. So let's get rid of that. Let's get to the neuroscience. So this is the main thing, and I've read the titles and the abstracts. We're going to go through these papers together because this is about learning the mechanisms of the brain disorders associated with SARS-CoV-2, the premise for the COVID zombie. So the title of this paper is Expression of the ACE2 virus entry protein in the nervus terminalis suggests an alternative route for brain infection in COVID-19. Now, that's a technical title that a lot of people would probably skip over, but there's so the neuroscience is pretty well established. There's my PowerPoint. Okay, and let's just go here real quick, and let's do this. Right. So So the neuroinvasive potential of SARS-CoV-2 may be at least partially responsible for the respiratory failure of COVID-19 patients. This is in the acute effects where it was spreading most rapidly, and this is the important part. According to the complaints of a survivor, the medical graduate from Wuhan University, she had to stay awake and breathe consciously and active during the intensive care period. And like I say, I've gone over this many times. You can go look at I've done sort of formal lectures, but I know they can get lost in the daily streams. But by transfecting the olfactory epithelium, what we can see, so if you look at this is a side-on view of the brain, and you can see all this green is where the virus can be identified. So it means it's been able to travel up, and it's distributed all around the cortex here. Okay, but it also can be identified in the respiratory center, what we call Botzinger complex in the medulla, and it disrupts your breathing process. Okay, but we also see encephalopathy in acute stages. This is on the inside of the temporal lobe. These are the interfaces of the nerve inputs and the olfactory system leading into hippocampus, amygdala. Remember, smell is a important trigger for memory, and this region is key for that. And we see this region a lot in people that have showing very acute stages or effects or neural injury with respect to SARS-CoV-2. So like I say, it's a it's preprint still, but like I say, in a very dynamic environment, preprints are useful. So we're going to go through it all together. Save it. So you should be getting into practice of this, folks. Save the papers offline, okay? Ooh. Oh, hang on. I'm expecting a delivery for my we adopted a turtle. Let me just check. I do apologise for that, folks. So, Bielinska. Butt out. Out to green. Okay, so let's bring this bad boy up. Catch up with the chat. I do apologise for that. We adopted a turtle, and we've been, how would you say, we bought a big tank and bought the lights, etc., and waited on a filter, and the one we got just isn't. I didn't realise turtles were so noxious for a tank. They seem to put out a lot of waste, so I've had to order a larger filter and pump to just deal with how much they seem to turn the water a bit manky. But let's see. Waifu needs a hug. Hugs to waifu, everyone. Here, new super COVID variant combination, 18 mutations. Let's see this. Sorry, I'm just catching up. Like I say, this is live stream. You can talk to me. Okay, it's not short. It's not for short attention span, smooth brains. Okay, we go into stuff. Here's a question: could the new variants wholly or partly be a result of vaccine-induced immune evasion? Yes, I think so. This is. A new super variant of the COVID-19 virus in Brazil is a combination of 18 different mutations, including the so-called Brazil, British, and South African strains, precisely where they were testing AstraZeneca. According to the local media reports, scientists in the South African country have confirmed that the new strain, which was first discovered in the city of Belo Horizonte, contains multiple mutations that were already known. It has characteristics in common with the variants that were already circulating in Brazil, but it also has new characteristics. Renato Santana, a virologist at the Federal University of Minas Gerais, reportedly told local newspaper G1. It's as if these variants were evolving. Yeah, Santana said, adding that the new variant includes the same genes modified by Brazil's Manaus, known as P1, British and South African variant. And MSN, of course, gallery anti-vax, are these diseases making a comeback? And like I say, once you understand the link to biowarfare programs, and Andrew Weber, he of the Obama administration, gleefully shouting out about how they... Oi, thank you very much.
Thanks as always, Doc.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated for the donation. Got a message other than thank you. Let me know, but let's see what it was. I think that was Terry. It was a little small on my end, but to check. But like I say, I'm not anti-vax. What I'm concerned about is this corporatization and push to the modification, right? The fundamental modification. It's not fundamental. It's a or hijacking of cellular machinery. And you know, you could be argued that that's what the disease does, etc. We're just sort of taking the process a little bit deeper. Maybe. But the point, the real point is, have we got here because of the hubris of man, okay, and the deep state groups that were involved in circumventing biowarfare legislation, putting it into emerging infectious disease paradigm, going around the world, finding these pathogens, bringing them back to the lab, making the modifications that we can see once you understand the molecular biology and you can track what's going on and you can see the people involved and how much we've caught them lying through freedom of information requests, okay? We have them lying and scheming, okay? And if now we're in this new paradigm, okay, where they're going to be mandating vaccines, okay, because of their fuck up, okay, heads have to roll. Okay, heads have to roll. All right, let's start with the paper again. Go back to the chat. Mix and match UK COVID vaccine trial expanded. 80 bucks. Stake through the heart holder crony capitalism. Yes, I agree. Omniversling. I agree. Oh, Sandra, good to see you. Okay. April 13th, best day. Yes, I think so. Sacred day. DJ said, it's amazing how all these medical and political actors worked in unison, as if they already knew what directions to take. Yeah, like the One Health paradigm as a framework had been there for years and years and years. Quote, mendacious, lying sleazebags. Applause. Well, thank you very much, Basil. Grace, help us when any one of us uses a knife to cut through to the truth, be it with big data and our personal lives. Personal comment. I think that Dr. Kev had the most amazing kind intentions when he had to cut any other living creature while he walked the path of his karma and bring knowledge to this time and place. I was also not there, but I trust with all my heart in his kindness in the past, present and future. I also trust the sharpness of his mind, to be able to cut and find the truth. I'm trying. Fire from the hip. Well, that's what the love handles are there, right? To provide some padding. I'm in the control group, yes. Greetings, Doc. Precious Mental says, any concern over the nanoparticle delivery systems for vaccines and where it's leading us to? Look, right now, if it's gun to head, and the escape variants coming out because of a consequence of this dual-use technology, I think I would take the nanoparticle vaccines first, because I think it's closer to how the immune system would act. The idea of getting your cells to express, I want to. If I had cancer, I might be tempted to try such a therapy. But for this, like I say, when we know that they're trying to milk profits to keep those hedge funds rolling, okay, to bring on the stakeholder capitalism of the 21st century. The New World Order, as Klaus Schwab says. Who would not find it highly suspect when people as young as 18 to 20-year-old have died or have serious reactions soon after the vax? Right. Yes. DJ, I don't know what. I hope we watch the spitter after this thread I shared. Oh, we've got a spitter to look at. Great. Susan, good to see you. I got sorry. The chat is picking up. It's the switch away from YouTube hasn't been too bad, I guess. We're looking at a lot of people, surprisingly. All right, I want to find that paper. Where did that go? Okay, so nervus terminalis. What's nervus terminalis? It's a enigma in the neurosciences, human neuroscience, primate neuroscience. Do I think it exists? Yes, I do. So there are 12 cranial nerves classically, but this one they call cranial nerve 0. I'm of the opinion that it's a subdivision of the olfactory cranial nerve, which is, I believe, number 1. Let's just check. Cranial nerve 1. It's just so we're going to be learning together. Hey. work. Oh, so slow. Cranial nerve 1 is the first and shortest cranial nerve. It's a special visceral afferent nerve which transmits information relating to smell. Embryologically, the olfactory nerve is derived from the olfactory placode, a thickening of the ectoderm layer, which also give rise to the glial cells which support the nerve. Now, go watch all the other lectures that I've done, which are talking about the fundamental nature and the role of the limbic system, the olfactory system, and it's such a primitive sense. It's chemical sensing in the environment, and like I say, you can smell the fear of those associated with where's cranial nerve 1? They didn't put it in there. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and of course it's missing. Well, the olfactory bulb is it's much higher, and it projects into the limbic system, but it's got pathways into the medulla as well. So, but anyway, here gives you an idea of the cranial nerves popping out of the medulla and brainstem, pons. Trigeminal nerve, it's a very, very important one. If ever you've had, well, a lot of chronic pain comes from trigeminal neurological disorders. I can attest to that. I've got a, I forget what it's called now, but where you get trigeminal neuralgia from a reaction to a brace when I was a teenager, and coupled with head injury, I have chronic pain states. They suck. They suck. And trigeminal nerve plays a big factor in that. And anyway, the point I wanted to get to was the olfactory bulb. Is this one? Show it. No. No. It's just a different part of the anatomy. Never mind. But oh well, let's look for cranial nerve 0. So cranial nerve 0, the 13th cranial nerve, is part of the olfactory bulb. That's the claim. So let's try and find this. Like I say, I'm stretching my neuroanatomy at the moment, but cranial nerve 0. And like I say, it's not discussed that often, particularly in what is the structure of cranial nerve 0? Here we go. Terminal nerve. Terminal nervalis. What did they call it? Nervus terminalis. Okay. So the terminal nerve, also known as cranial nerve 0 or CN0, was discovered by German scientist Gustav Frisch in 1878 in the brains of sharks. Okay, and we all know that sharks can smell blood in the water. It was first found in humans in 1913. A 1990 study has indicated that the terminal nerve is a common finding in the adult human brain. The nerve has been called unofficially by other names, including cranial nerve 13, 0 nerve, nerve N, and ND. The terminal nerve appears just anterior to the other cranial nerves bilaterally as a microscopic plexus of unmyelinated peripheral nerve fascicles. So fascicles is just a bunch, like a fascisti. In the subarachnoid space covering the gyrus rectus. Let's get some orientation for folks. So gyrus rectus, so olfactory sulcus, you can see this, and this is the orbitofrontal cortex. So the brain is flipped upside down here. Okay, so here you can see the cerebellum. Okay, and so the olfactory bulbs are sort of up here where the cribriform plate is. Okay, and we want to look at the hippocampus, cortical input. Find so relation to limbic system. Well, and like the hippocampus, amygdala, olfactory centers, limbic system are all tightly coupled. Is the point I'm trying to get to. Okay, and this cranial nerve 0 is embedded in it. Okay, but olfactory bulb is the sort of prime. Well, it's big, right? Olfactory bulbs are big when you take the brain out, and so a lot of attention gets put on it. All the brains that I've taken out, okay, have I ever seen something I'm like, oh, I can count every cranial nerve, right? But have I ever sat there and said, oh, I can see cranial nerve 0? No, I haven't. And the you would need you need a master at anatomy, and you know it's kind of a sort of lost art at the moment because the imaging has become so prevalent. But you know, there used to be a time where we would slice brains micrometer by micrometer. Relation to the limbic system. So the term limbic system was introduced by Paul MacLean to describe the set of structures that line the edge of the cortex, Latin limbus meaning border. These include the hippocampus, cingulate cortex, olfactory cortex, and amygdala. Paul MacLean later suggested that the limbic structure comprises the neural basis of emotion. Yeah, kind of. But anyway, I consider it part of the extended basal ganglia. There's a core basal ganglia, which includes striatum, pallidus, thalamus, back to cortex, and then there are the amygdala and hippocampal structures. That's nice. Look, you can see the comparison to the seahorse structure. Nice. All right, fascinating though neuroanatomy is, we still haven't even got to the abstract. So, previous studies suggested that SARS-CoV-2 virus may gain access to the brain by using a route along the olfactory nerve. However, there's a general consensus that the obligatory virus entry receptor, angiotensin converting enzyme 2, is not expressed in olfactory receptor neurons, and the timing of arrival of the virus in brain targets is inconsistent with a neuronal transfer along olfactory projections. We determined whether the nervus terminalis neurons and their peripheral and central projections may provide an alternate route from the nose to the brain. Nervus terminalis neurons were double-labeled with antibodies against ACE2 and nervus terminalis markers in the postnatal mice. Were double-labeled with antibodies against ACE2. Sometimes these preprints are, and nervus terminalis markers in postnatal mice, so after they were born. We show that most nervus terminalis neurons with cell bodies in the region between the olfactory epithelium and the olfactory bulb express ACE2 and therefore may provide a direct route for the virus from the nasal epithelium and Bowman glands to brain targets, including the telencephalon. Telencephalon is your cortex, and diencephalon, which is the hindbrain, basically the oldest part of the brain. So many reports have suggested that severe acute respiratory syndrome gains access to the brain by using an olfactory route from nose to the brain. I've spoken about this at length. It's been my premise, and you know, there's been studies that have transfected the olfactory epithelium and found these effects, but the identified olfactory neurons have been coming up negative. So how is it getting from the olfactory epithelium into the brain? And this seems to be an identified pathway. Okay. Similar to other neuroinvasive viruses, they've been shown to infect olfactory receptor neurons and spread from these first-order olfactory neurons to secondary and tertiary targets in the brain. Indeed, it's been shown that SARS-CoV-2 can accumulate in various brain regions in animal models and in a small number of human patients. However, the route along the olfactory nerve from the nose to the brain is controversial for SARS-CoV-2 primarily for two reasons. Olfactory receptor neurons do not express the obligatory virus entry receptor, the angiotensin converting 2, or expression is restricted to a very small subset of these neurons. Because sustentacular cells tightly enwrap olfactory receptor neurons, these ACE2 expressing support cells can easily be mistaken for olfactory receptor neurons, resulting in false positive identification. The timeline of appearance of SARS-CoV-2 in the brain is inconsistent with the neuron hopping mode. Infection of third-order olfactory targets should occur with a significant delay after infection of the olfactory epithelium, as has been reported for other neuroinvasive viruses. But instead, the hypothalamus and brainstem are reported to be infected as early as or even earlier than the olfactory bulb. SARS-CoV-2 may even skip the olfactory nerve and olfactory bulb on its way to brain infection. These findings have raised doubt about the notion that the olfactory nerve serves as a major conduit for brain infection in COVID-19. With few exceptions, studies suggesting an olfactory route for SARS-CoV-2 to achieve brain infection failed to consider an alternative route from the nose to the brain, the route via the nervus terminalis. Many peripheral processes of the nervus terminalis innervate the olfactory epithelium, the blood vessels below this epithelium, as well as cells in Bowman's gland. So Bowman's gland is new to me. I'd like to know what that is. When travel is possible, and my grandmother could have knocked me in tomorrow. Figured out how to share D-live streams. Oh my, I'm a hopeless dog. Marty. It's amazing how all these medical... Yeah, I did that one. Oh, it's Bowman's glands, olfactory glands, I see. The Bowman gland. Bowman's glands are tubulo-alveolar in nature, with ducts extending through the epithelium to the surface. In humans, they apparently secrete serous fluid that contributes to the mucous layer overlying the epithelium. Oh, there you go. Like I say, I am not an expert. Like I say, people could spend a whole lifetime studying Bowman's glands, right? That wasn't my area of study. Where do I get the archive? So if you register on McCairn Dojo, let me just go here. So if you go to this, register, okay, and then you go to the past episodes tab. Why my internet is so slow? I do know, but it's enough for streaming, it seems. What about money? Once upon a time when I was young and beautiful, so I was told I was very poor, but because I was beautiful I had access to some lowly jobs to some powerful people. I learned that money was like a drug to them. I also learned that most of them, almost all of them, were on some sort of drug. They had enough money to keep their lifestyle going without too much effort, no matter how thrilled their minds were. Pride, maybe? I had to resign some of my jobs with them because I was so nauseated by just being around them. I was young and beautiful, and I'm a good, compassionate listener. Talk to me, tell me what they had done. If people knew what has really gone on, there would be a revolution. Now this is a whole new level, not just my personal level of knowledge. When the mirror breaks, it will shatter the illusions for the world. Yeah, I think you're seeing that breaking occurring right now. So if you go down, okay, so you'll see the player featured episode. I need to tidy this page up. And here, down below, you'll see streams that we're doing. You'll see Brendan O'Connell's streams as well on the platform. And there's 16 pages of streams for you to catch up on. And yeah, the all there. Okay. You can marvel at the good doggy memes. And yeah, so I hope that's answered that question. That was an easy question. Back to our paper. And the potential processes of some of these neurons extend to various targets in the forebrain, as far caudal as the hypothalamus. Some of the nervus terminalis neurons are in direct contact with spaces containing cerebral spinal fluid in the region of the olfactory nerve and bulb. About 30–40% of these neurons of the nervus terminalis express gonadotropin-releasing hormone. And some of these neurons may release GnRH into blood vessels below the olfactory epithelium. Interesting. While other neuronal populations of the nervus terminalis system are thought to regulate blood flow and blood pressure in the nose and forebrain, hence probably why they're innervated with ACE2 receptors. I named my snapping turtle Tokka after one of Shredder's mutants. Okay. Is that turtle big enough for a soup? It's about 15 centimeters. Name the turtle Speedy. Turtle ownership is still illegal in Alberta, Canada. Yeah, so this turtle is a red-eared slider. I think what they call them. They're indigenous to sort of the south of the United States, Mexico, and last year they were considered an invasive species in Japan. So I don't know why someone found it walking along a riverbank, and I said I'd take it. I've never looked after a turtle before, but the amount of shit and piss they do in the tank and is quite astonishing. Let's just see here. Captain Faggering is beeping at me. Dive up. COVID conspiracy reverse engineered slowly but surely. Please, do you know of any group, yourself, others, drastic, or any persons that are making educated guesses of what the evolution of variants might look like? That's not as well worded scientifically. Can possibly pass for the variants be estimated, not necessarily predicted. Look, if you want someone that's on the edge, it's that Gert Bush. I don't know how to pronounce the last name. Did you answer this question on the stream? I had to walk away from my PC. Yes, I did answer the stream. The question on stream, Chris. Here's a question: could the new variants wholly or partly be the result of vaccine-induced immune evasion? Something we have to take into account. We can't ignore it. Okay? Until we know better. This is the thing right now. We don't know. We have to gather data. So yeah, Gert Bisht. Find that dude. How can so many variants be combining in one place? Well, it's trajectory of evolution, right? This is the equivalent of serial passage, okay? And it will find ways to, well, the classical virology would say that it's coming to some sort of homeostasis. But the more we put environmental pressure onto this variant, the more we're going to get into the Marek's chicken scenario. System messages. Oh, Concrete Mark. Good to see you. Stream chat. See, right, let's go down. We did that. These properties make the nervus terminalis a strong candidate for expression of ACE2, known to regulate blood flow and blood pressure in many tissues. Expression of ACE2 in the nervus terminalis would suggest that this cranial nerve is a plausible alternative to the olfactory nerve for SARS-CoV-2 virus to gain access to the brain. However, it has not been previously examined and reported whether nervus terminalis neurons express the obligatory viral entry receptor ACE2. We have therefore examined whether ACE2 is expressed in these neurons in an animal model postnatal mouse. This is the type of science that I like, right? So, I've been laboring under the assumption that it was the olfactory bulbs, but like I say, I was familiar with the ACE2 dilemma. But what other could it be? Well, now my memory has been spiked to cranial nerve 0, and here we go. So we don't have to do the method so much. Let's just get down to some pictures, and I think what we might do is we'll down here. This. Alright, and let's go down to figures. Okay, so here we can see a schematic. Okay, so that's olfactory epithelium, obviously, olfactory bulb, and schematic sagittal section, so sideways, through a mouse head shows the orientation planes of tissue sections from figure 2AE, I, and M that were used for demonstration of double immunolabeling and cell counting. What's double immunolabeling? Well, first you want to be able to have an antibody that binds specifically to ACE2. Immunohistochemistry is a very precise technique in biology, okay, and it's brilliant for neuroscience. But you need to be able to tag the antibody that's jumped on or latched on to the protein of interest. Okay, and so you have a second antibody hit the first antibody, and on that antibody you have a signal, something that can be processed for signal horseradish peroxidase, something along those lines. And you can process these tissue sections to express that marker, and you can say, "Haha! I can see the stain." So that's one of our things, and here they're using double immunofluorescence labeling, GnRH ACE2. I mean, it's not super bright. So Hookst, not sure what the Hookst is. Nuclear stain with Hookst 33258. I guess that's specific for nasal epithelium. Stain solution optimized for DNA staining. So that would just light up everything of the olfactory epithelium. Let's go back here. And so in this merged pictures, you can see the green. It's ACE2, here, here, here. And the blended picture looks. All right. So they said that it has this growth GnRH, and they've done the labeling for that as well. That's what you can see there. All right, so skimming through that, it looks okay. Let's see, GnRH ACE2, GnRH ACE2 minus, blah 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 blah. Quantification of localization of GnRH and ACE2 and chat and ACE2 in nervus terminalis neurons. The large majority of GnRH negative neurons is also ACE2 positive. In contrast, the majority of chat positive cholinergic nervus terminalis neurons lack ACE2 expression. Chat. So they're also cholinergic neurons. Interesting. Right. Remember that cholinergic pathway is a critical factor in the disease progression of SARS-CoV-2. It's why it's my contention that a lot of the acute effects come from cholinergic antagonism. That's the rabies neurotoxin and the snake venom. And now there are up to 2 regions that contain this this cholinergic antagonistic property on the spike 2 protein. Just happened to be there, right? Just one of those things. Figure 4, peripheral projections of nervous terminalis neurons and their presumptive relationship with ACE2 expressing neurons in the olfactory epithelium. Olfactory epithelium, Bowman gland, I see.
Welcome to PUBG Mobile. We will be taking off soon. Be prepared.
Figure 4, peripheral projections of nervous terminalis neurons and their presumptive relationship with ACE2 expressing neurons in the olfactory epithelium. Olfactory epithelium, Bowman gland, I see.
Help!
And here you can see SARS-CoV-2 documented. Okay, olfactory epithelium, going to forebrain. Bowman gland cells and olfactory epithelium, peripheral projections of NT neurons according to Larson, 1950. Cells expressing ACE2 are indicated in green, including substanticular cells, SUS, and Bowman gland cells. Both of these cell types have been shown to express ACE2. Cell types that have been documented to be infectious by SARS-CoV-2 are indicated with pink asterisks. SARS-CoV-2 localization in SUS cells according to Brish et al. I haven't looked at that paper. And BG cells according to Brish and Least. So that's basically the end of the paper. But why is it critical? Because we're trying to figure out why it's getting into the brain, and we're seeing these critical effects. And forebrain, hippocampus, basal ganglia, that's all part of the impulse control circuits and part of the COVID zombie phenotype, if you like. But once in there, you're dealing with the protein misfolding phenomenon, the prion hypothesis. And so this is the next paper that we're going to be taking a look at. So I want to shout out Harvard to the big house. This and interactions between SARS-CoV-2 N protein and alpha-synuclein accelerate amyloid formation. So there are 2 pathways for protein entanglements, the alpha-synuclein and the beta-amyloid pathways. Beyond reading the title, I haven't really looked at this paper. Again, I want to just go through it, give it my thoughts and what I think is of critical importance here. Just in a nutshell, what this paper is saying is that the spike protein has the potential to produce these misfolded proteins. Now, I would say the mechanism for protein misfolding is agnostic to where the spike comes from. whether you get it from viral infection or you get it through the end of a needle, right? The statistics will pan out whether, you know, which one causes the most acute problems. But let's not forget, okay, that somehow in that SPARS document, okay, what was the major criteria that they were sort of gaming around, or one of them was that the vaccines that they were dishing out suddenly after a year, 18 months, were associated with neurological abnormalities. Okay, so we can look at the virus and we can say, okay, there's plenty we can pin on it to say that could cause neurological issues. The virus, on the other hand, the spike induced by vaccines is another matter, and we don't know. When people are telling you that the vaccines are safe, they don't know. They don't know. And remember, science-based medicine, Gorski tried to tell you that the prions come from bovine fetal syndrome serum, okay? That it was related to cows, and these vaccines don't touch any dairy products, right? It's got nothing to do with that. It's to do with the conformation of the protein itself, okay? And what was that the study we looked at the other day where they were looking at the expression of the spike protein? Okay, you weren't just getting a handful of spike proteins appearing on the surface. There were thousands of these spike proteins emerging onto the cell surface of the infected cell. Okay, who knows where they go? And remember that the cholinergic receptor binding is critical. It's part of the transfection mechanism. Think rabies. Okay. First cases that point at a correlation between SARS-CoV-2 infections. Let's do the PDF. With that, once I'm downloading, I will match up with the chat. The second seems likely to me. A lot of Brazilians work overseas. Yeah, we have a Brazilian diaspora right in the town that I live. It's where in Japan that they're located. I'm in ground zero for the P1 variant in Japan. But we won the war. Can't they have English surnames? Classens. Is that the same Classens? No, it's not. The Prion article that MAE Classens. Is that the same one that did the microbiology one? I want to know. Maybe not. But there was the Classens which Gorski tried to shoot down. Pedo adjacent Gorski. Help. Okay, let's not forget that. Those fucks.
Help.
21.
Help.
Between SARS N protein. So here we're going to be looking at the N protein, okay, and alpha synuclein accelerate amyloid formation. Nice. All right, so let's do that. Very much. Let's do this. Here. I'll just catch up with the chat real quick. Thank you for getting this info out, Doc. Says Dosha. Someone I know took Modernovax after 2 days. A bad headache for hours. Weird. That could just be acute. Doc, you should know the cranial nerves already. Learn together indeed. Sharpen the machete. Can I say what that looks like? An old Olympus towering top, Finn and a German. Some bombs. Some say more money, but my brother says big books matter most. Help, Kevin in chat. Hello. I can see you, Idaho girl. Jihad Neuroscience for Dummies. Who even knew they had olfactory epithelium sustaintacular cells before joining the dojo? I can cook and change the oil on my truck. Same here, most I knew is I lost my sense of smell and taste for almost 2 years after hitting my head. Didn't know the actual details of it all. Name the turtle Tex. The turtle is in fact called Christopher, in honour of Captain Faggerin, who helped me pay for the tank. But that tank is fouled up right now, and I'm, like I say, struggling with the degree of turtle shit that it's making. He seems to be, he's just happy to float in that bracket.
Enemies ahead!
I like his message, except he seems to dismiss the earlier SARS 2 as relatively harmless. London Bush, good, London Bush, Bush, how do you say that? Light area, maybe some other tissue, I'm not sure, I didn't get that far studying the nose. This is where the spike in the vaccine comes from, and it doesn't seem so harmless. Indeed, he also has ties to sketchy organisations pushing gene therapies.
Still got four wheels, so
look,
I
man,
can fix it.
that's just science has gone down that way, right? They'll follow the money and the techniques, etc. The question becomes, well, you know, what's the consequences of these techniques once they get out into the wild? And you know, we're looking at one right now, but somehow it's always the same names, the same organisations, the same ones that just seem to revolve around. So say underage human trafficking. Can anyone say illicit organ trade? Oh, come on. Johnson & Johnson, no. Why is chat so dead? Because we're not on YouTube, so not everyone can chat. YouTube allows the chat, that's why it's slow. Trying to get some chores done, so I keep going away from keyboard, but still listening. Good man, when it's quiet, everyone's probably eating. Same, I do a lot of restreams as well to make sure it stays in all good knowledge. Just lunch and I just eating too. It's 3 AM, I'm just about awake. It's like we're all looking at the moon at the same time together. Link please, Kev. Link for what? Paper? Yes. Do that. No, okay, the links are in the Discord in the CNS folder. Thank you for putting the link, and I want to say, Jigs, salute sir, thank you very much. Great stream, lots of information, lots of great information. I am trying.
Great stream, lots of great information.
Dude. Thank you very much. And congratulations, Jig, on your contract. May Allah bless you with wealth and His beneficence. Allah Akbar, Alhamdulillah. Help support the stream, indeed. Thank you very much, Warrior, for putting those links in. Manning has a commemorative turtle. Yes, so every time I feel the turtle's head, now I can think of Captain Faggerin. Yes, do not forget Brubaker Arms, Bat Lady. That's yeah. She's not looking so young and fresh faced anymore. I think reality has caught up with her. Dun, dun, dun. Christopher the Turtle, you immortalized turtle will live longer than you. Malia Maya says, happy birthday. Well, thank you very much. All right, let's get on with the paper, because this relates to the Parkinsonism, which we need to be aware of, the prion pathways. So First cases that point at a correlation between SARS-CoV-2 infections and development of Parkinson's disease have been reported. Currently, it is unclear if there is also a direct causal link between these diseases. To obtain first insights into a possible molecular relation between viral infections and aggregation of alpha-synuclein protein into the amyloid fibrils characteristics for Parkinson's disease, we investigated the effect of the presence of SARS-CoV-2 proteins on alpha-synuclein aggregation. We show in test tube experiments. Why test tubes? Who wrote this? Ex vivo, in vivo, vitro, in vitro, in vivo. Use those terms, please.
Welcome
Test
to
tubes.
PUBG Mobile.
Kids chemistry. We show in test tube experiments the SARS-CoV-2 S protein has no effect on alpha-synuclein aggregation, while SARS-CoV-2 M protein considerably speeds up the aggregation process. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so the remember we were interested in beta amyloid as part of the. So we could have two methods for two of the primary beta amyloid. Alzheimer's and the Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease family, and beta amyloid, A beta protein, is a key molecule in the pathogenesis of Alzheimer's disease. The tendency of A beta peptide to aggregate is reported. Neurotoxicity and genetic linkage studies have led to a hypothesis of Alzheimer's generation pathogenesis. The many AD researchers termed the amyloid cascade hypothesis, and prions are linked to beta amyloid. Let's just do this, beta amyloid. Are AD oligomers prion-like? Let's see. Prion-like spread of alpha-beta oligomers is well documented in animal studies following the injection of purified oligomers or brain extracts from AD patients or diseased animals. There you go, folks. It's all about the prion cascade. All about the prion cascade. They didn't want you to get acute effects, okay? And the acute effects, like I say, there's it's kind of a hidden variable in the equation, and it makes people more susceptible to attack. And this all revolves. It comes down to one study now. That will it get off the preprint servers? Non-human primates exposed to SARS-CoV-2, even in asymptomatic states, develop beta amyloid type aggregations associated with neurodegenerations. The alpha-synuclein, it's another pathway, okay, but the effect is pretty much the same. There's many proteins that can become entangled. I pretty much tried to put my turtle in a separate tank for them to drop a deuce. Otherwise they fuck the water up like crazy. It puts my filter through the gauntlet if she poops in the main tank. Yeah, but how do you know when they're gonna poop? I don't get it. That's why snapping turtle looks mean as fuck, man. This little red-eared thing's kind of cute. And the food as well just seems to leave an oily film everywhere.
We will be
Mad
taking
Cow
off
made me
soon.
a vegetarian.
Be prepared.
That snapping turtle looks as primitive as fuck. Kev's birthday still here for 2 more hours. Yeah, buy Kev a drink for his birthday.
No.
The Milky Bars were on me.
Go. No.
Well done on YouTube. Also rescued a turtle. Turtle keeps growing and crabbing.
Form up on me.
13, lucky for some. Yeah. To interview a 40-year-old man who likely has prion disease. got it from eating wild game. Yeah, like I say, they're infectious proteinaceous particles, and the vaccine makes them.
Okay.
Okay, making them. This is what we're going to look at right
Let's
now.
go. No.
In the final stages, it's